Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night live. It's an opportunity for everyone to ask their questions and get some answers about their vegetable growing queries. And it's a chance to give you a catch up on the things that are going on in the week and some of the plans for the week ahead. So so far this week we had a good, really productive weekend last weekend, and it's the first weekend in a good while. We had a really solid, productive weekend like that, and we managed to get a good amount of work done. We managed to get quite a lot of our chilies planted. There's still some to go in, so hopefully today, maybe after this live stream tomorrow, we'll get some more of our chilies planted. We'll get the rest of our nagas planted and get those in the soil and into the propagators. But we've started getting some of our nagas popping the little heads up and coming up. That's one of the most exciting feelings, one of the best feelings that you can get. So we've got Alan. How are you doing? Joining us from Northern Ireland. Graham, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much both for coming in. And we've got 8 people watching. One like, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like for me, that'd be brilliant. Pam Clark, Garden of Whedon. I love that name. That's awesome. Yeah, Michelle, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Willow Grove, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope everyone's good. Right. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can certainly see it. There's sort of a glow coming off the top of my head. It's because I'm wearing this white hat underneath this spotlight. Let me see if I've got another hat here so I can get it changed. Or turn this light off, because yeah, it looks like I'm surrounded by a halo at the minute. Just give me a second. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? So Mad Dog, how are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. Thanks everyone for coming in. So yeah, we managed to get a good amount of chilies in the ground last weekend. We've still got a lot of our chilies to go, but I'm just waiting for some of the space to open up in the propagators. My mum's actually already started sowing a snake gourds and a couple of what are the other ones? Ridge gourds. I didn't expect her to sow them yet. We were hoping to, we normally have this sort of argument every year. I'm saying delay them for a week or two, and she's like, no, I'm planting them now. And then we're fighting over who's got space in the propagator. Adam, how are you doing, mate? Alan put his elephant garlic in today. Fantastic. How's the ground where you are at the minute? Because ours is absolutely sodden. It's so soaked. I haven't seen it this wet for a long time, but yesterday it was just pouring down with rain. We've got puddles of water on the surface of the lawn and stuff. Yeah, it's quite bad. I don't. How's everyone else with the weather at the moment? You made it. Say hello to Pam. Have I sent those seeds in? Not yet. They're going to be posted on Monday. Because what I'm doing for you is, I know you said you wanted some mild chilies or some medium, so I've done that for you. But I'm putting in little packets of some of the other chilies that I'm sowing as well, just so you can have a bit of a play. You don't need to grow them all, but you can have a little bit of a play if you want to. Maybe I'll turn you into a bit of a chili head like me. I really enjoyed your seed sowing video the other day. Just saw my onions. Fantastic. I've got some onions to sow as well. I've got quite a lot of onions to sow. So not too many. I've not got the room. All right. I'll tell you what. There's one more seed that I want to put in. Let me pack that one. I think I put in about 4. They're not loads of seeds. There's just a few different varieties of chilies. Let me pack that one seed, and then we'll do that. So wet but not drowning, thankfully. I'm sowing my sweet peas while washing this. Awesome. I was talking to my wife about that. She was saying, Well, Graham messaged me asking me, do I grow flowers? And I was talking to my wife about it, saying, look, you need to plant your sweet peas, because she loves sweet peas, and the fragrance of sweet peas is fantastic as well. And because every year we sow them, quite late on, so we normally sow them about February time by the time we get them sown. So what I was trying to tell her is get your sweet peas planted a bit earlier. And there you go, you're doing the same thing. I thought I was quite late. I know a lot of people have sown them already. Wet but not drowning. It's the first time that we've seen, I've seen puddles of water on top of the grass. I've never seen it as bad as that. And we're on a slope as well, so that's saying something. Windy and sunny today in Reading. Rain coming tomorrow. We've had a lot of wind last night. I was in the attic, so I'm normally in the attic in the evenings, but last night I thought the roof was going to come off. It was that bad. It felt really drafty. There was a lot of wind hitting the attic. Lots of rain in Leicester, but thankfully my garden drains well. Coastal Gardens, how are you doing? Quercus Rober, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Don't even go there, bro. You've turned me. That's what I'm saying, right? Once you start sowing chilies, whether you eat them or not, you just get into it. Have you seen the amount of chilies that Tony grows? Tony O'Neill, and that guy doesn't even eat chilies. So let's see who else is here. Moz, how are you doing, man? Long time no see. It's been glad you could join us tonight. Hope everything's good. Di, how are you doing? You're not late. I just about turned up. If I burn my mouth and there's pain, I'm. I'll bring the sweet peas. I've got loads of sweet pea seeds. We save loads of we save our own seeds for them. So there's loads of them. But unless you've got some different kinds, and then that might be a different question altogether. I always grow loads of flowers. It's great for the beneficial insects, and sown my sweet peas a week ago. See, we grow a good amount of flowers, but because I don't do all the flower growing and stuff like that, I don't know what their names are, and where, I don't know loads about them. It's my wife that's the expert on that. I know my marigold, and I know my sweet Williams, and I know sweet peas, and there might be a couple of others that pop their names into my ear. Ahmed, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. It's been a while. Glad you could join us. There's a few. That's all right. I'm in good company then. There's a few of us late. Sunny here in Wales. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Finally having some productive time. Mohan Ali, assalamu alaikum. So now there's someone I haven't seen for a very long time. Hope you're well. I hope your family's good. Hope everything's keeping good for you. Pouring with the rain for the last 5 days in Bristol. Very windy. Didn't put the cover on the polytunnel until middle of February. Do you have to take your cover off every year, or is it a new polytunnel that you fit in? I'm growing Kashmiri chili this year. Yeah, so Kashmiri chili, nice green chilies. Potting onion. See, I need to get into growing some big onions and see how we get on with them. I keep meaning to get some. I did get some big onion seeds from Dean a couple of years back, and he gave me a good handful of them. And then we just grew them like normal onions instead of giving them any special treatment or anything like that. Oh man, you found your greenhouse in the koi pond. What kind of greenhouse was it? Was it a plastic one? because I had a greenhouse a few years ago. The first greenhouse I bought, it was one of those. It was from Argos. It was a metal frame, but instead of glass, it had plastic, thin plastic in it, and they slid in between the metal panes. And we had it in. We pegged it into the ground. It lasted one season. Came to the second season, and we had some real winds. And I ran out into the garden, when it was windy, and I thought, right, okay. And I was worried about this greenhouse. I thought it was going to go, and then I was like holding on to the greenhouse for dear life. And I held on, and then this big gust of wind came and just took it straight out of my hands, and it collapsed all over the garden. So if you ever notice me using these plastic panes, it's what I actually made the cold frame out of last year. Some of those plastic panes. So I recycle plastic panes. I use the green spiky things, green metal bars for various little things, like especially when I'm doing the chicken runs outside. So even though the greenhouse went to waste, it completely disappeared. The materials are still being used. Walked into the toolbar. I'll earn. I bet that hurt. I bet that hurt. Saz wa alaikum assalam. Glad you came in. You inspired my son to grow potatoes. I can't wait to plant more things now. Oh, fantastic! How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking? No, it's a new polytunnel. I told you I had fitted last. Yeah. I'm with you. You just need to jog my memory sometimes. Um, keeping up is a little bit difficult, so I just need a bit. Yeah, you just need to remind me. How's the plastering going? I've seen a few of your videos. It's not as easy as it looks. The plastering turned out quite well. The wall's straight, so that's a bonus. It's quite smooth. There was a few patches that I needed to rub down and sand, but all in all, I think it's a pretty decent job. We've got it painted, and the living room's livable again. There's a few little bits of tinkering I need to do to finish it off. I managed to finish the grouting on the tiles as well, so the fireplace is ready. Just need to paint some of the bookshelves, get rid of our TV stand, put the TV on the wall, and then hopefully that living room I can forget about for a while. But my wife's had this new idea, because in the bay window we've got a table and chairs and stuff. So what she wants is a bench building into the bay window, and then she wants to pad that up and use it like a padded bench with liftable storage underneath. So you might see some more videos of me building that thing. Let's see. There's a mild chili graham. I'm gonna try to powder them. Leighton, the road to self-sufficiency. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Found your channel the other day. Cool. We're building a custom blowaway frame. Glad you found us. See that new video. I was in two minds about doing it, because I did a what to grow. I did a what to grow series a couple of years ago, and I was in sort of umming and ahhing and thinking, should I do it? Because am I repeating myself? I mean, we took a slightly different take on it, rather than just saying these are the seeds you can grow. These are the seeds that I am actually growing, and took a little spin on it that way. So I didn't want to actually repeat myself, but from the sounds of it, there's a lot of good feedback that's come from it, that people have found it quite enjoyable and quite a prompt reminder for people to get sowing, what to be sowing, and when to get sowing them. So because those old videos, they don't always come back like you'd expect. So once a video's gone out of circulation for a couple of months, that's it. It's pretty much dead and buried with the amount of content that people put on social media nowadays. Great to hear about all the sowing plans. We're trying to move to the southwest, which means I can't get planning. Oh, when do you plan on moving? Derek, how are you doing? We have hot chilies in glass jars. Last Sunday I was cooking a chili con carne. Put one of the dried chili peppers in, and the mistake, and oh man, it's blood red on the left side. And that was last Sunday. That's been a week. Wow. Watched on CCTV. As soon as zipped floor was broken, the wind took it up like, oh. That's crazy. Are you free all weekend? I'm definitely coming over. Sunday's probably going to be better than Saturday. Saturday, tomorrow I'm away on the training course. My wife works in X-ray department. She told me tomorrow. Horticulturalist scientist Hamza Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullah. You're late, yeah, absolutely. I hope you're keeping well though. I germinated my peas, broad beans, terminate the turnips this week. They've all have roots, but with tomato variety, do you get what? See, depends on the tomatoes you like. I really like there's a cherry tomato called Sweet Million. I think they're absolutely amazing. Do you know, they're so productive. They're really tasty, and you'll see the tomato. Do you know the trusses of tomatoes? It sends out trusses on top of trusses, so you can on just a single truss of tomatoes, you can have like 20 tomatoes. It's phenomenal how productive that plant is. That's one that I never let out of my. Every year it's one that I grow. I got into growing sun gold as well, and a variety called honeycomb. So sun gold is a really nice tomato, really sweet cherry tomato. It's a yellow one. Honeycomb is the same variety as sun gold, or similar to sun gold, without as thick a skin, so it's not as prone to splitting. So we'll be doing my sweet peas, my aubergines, and sweet chili. Sorry, sweet peppers this weekend. I'm going to be using the heated Super 7 window. Oh, fantastic! That's a monster of a machine. Catherine, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Gail, I'm moving to a north-facing garden in the south of the UK. Will this affect what I can grow? It will, because it's going to affect the amount of sunlight you're going to get. So generally, north-facing gardens, even is it completely north-facing, or is it sort of northeast or northwest? Because that's going to give you a bit more options. So the things closer to your house, what I'd suggest is going for things like, the leafy vegetables. They're going to be more green leafy vegetables. They're better in the shade. Red leafy vegetables are even better. And then you want your fruits and your fruiting vegetables further away. So your tomatoes and peppers and those kind of things, getting as maximum amount of sun as you can give them. Those wives are coming up with new ideas. Just jobs for you. See, it's like as soon as I think I'm finished, it just starts again. It's still red after a week. That's crazy. Graham said to ask you about beans for drying. What is best to grow? So Balotti beans are fantastic. Yin Yang beans are really good. So we grow a lot of hyacinth beans. Now, if you can get the variety, if you can get the quantities growing, they're fantastic for growing for seed and drying. But because they're such a delicacy for us, we grow them and we eat the pods, and we grow them before eat the pods before they get to putting on the full seed. Standard side, good, basic, starter, easy to grow, a few different ones. See, Crimson Crush, the good thing about that is it's a blight resistant variety as well. So they're very good. Sweet Millionaire, great. Tomato Sun Gold, favorite. So I'm in good company again here. Get on. If you wanna grow something a little bit interesting, try going for something like Tigerella, Tiger Heritage variety as well. So yeah, it's what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it breeds true. So you can save the seeds from that, and you'll. It's not a F1 hybrid or anything like that. Gail, all my gardening has been in such a garden in London. I have to say, it all depends on how your house is and how long the garden is, because a tall house casts a long shadow. I built a bed in my polytunnel. My partner's daughter's old bedroom shelves and sowed red vein red vein sorrel and mustard spinach. I need to check on them tomorrow. See, other things that you can get in on that, if you're sowing things like sorrel and spinach, get some amsoy in, or some of the Chinese mustards. They're really nice. I've grown regular F1, Roma, and some type of cherry tomato for the past. It's just that the seeds I saved this year caught fungi, therefore need new seeds. I want to try something new. One of the other things that I always do with tomatoes is, do you know, if we ever see a nice tomato in the supermarket, when we go for the vine tomatoes, so if we find a nice one, we'll just take one of them and we'll save the seeds from that. So if one's particularly good tasting or something, supermarket tomatoes, you know, the normal red ones, the normal size ones, then they're pretty rank, but some of the vine ones can be quite nice. So we'll find one that we like and just sow seeds from that, and they always do quite well. KSQ Garden, Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullah. It's got a bit of east, sort of northeast. Okay, so that'll increase your options a little bit. I was impressed with the oyster mushrooms you found. What did you do? What did you make with them? They're still sat in a bowl downstairs. Well, they're sat in 3 bowls downstairs. I'm still cleaning them. There's a lot of maggots in them. They're quite bad with maggots. So I've got cling film over the top. The maggots are coming out, and I'm getting rid of them, and then just getting on with cleaning them, and then we'll yeah. We've got hyacinth beans from Bangladesh. Not showing off, just sharing. Yeah, we've got hyacinth beans originally from seeds from Bangladesh, but we save our own seeds now. I like a new greenhouse, something around 2x3. Could you recommend site suppliers? Rhino, quite good, but they're very expensive. If you're quite handy, why not try making? Why not make your own? If you see the red greenhouse that is in a lot of my videos, I made that myself. All the wood's recycled. Decking boards from someone a few streets away doing a bit of, taking off some decking. The roof timbers from my neighbour's roof, make the roof in my greenhouse. The only thing that I bought was the 4 corner posts and the plastic. The doors were from a few streets away as well. They were throwing some patio doors away, outdoor patio doors, and I was like, yeah, I'm having them. The glass patio doors. So if you're a little bit handy, that's probably going to be the cheapest option. But otherwise, Rhino are good. There's another pretty good company as well. That's not popping into my head. Tried hyacinth beans this year. Lots and lots of leaves, no flowers. All for the whole season. We'll try again this year. They need a really long growing season. We'll be sowing our hyacinth beans at the start of February. We'll start them in the house. We'll keep them in the house till they're about 3 foot tall, and then we'll transfer them to the greenhouse or transfer them outside. But they need a really long growing season. Aspect. Let's see. I'm trying an early tomato called Lata and dwarf variety called House Tomato. Well, that sounds interesting. That sounds really interesting. See, I saw my tomatoes in early February, so I think my mum might even start sowing some even sooner than that. But we normally sow ours in early February, so we get that long growing season, and we're normally harvesting tomatoes towards the middle of May. We start getting ripe tomatoes when people are still planting their tomatoes out. Can you recommend a good tomato to adding for curries? For things like that, you want a nice beef steak tomato. So I grow a couple of tomatoes. They're not the best tasting ones, but they're good for trying to get a big tomato. Outdoor Girl, that's a nice one. It's not bad tasting. It's not the best though. Gigantimo gives you some nice big tomatoes, but again, that's not a very good tasting one. A really nice tasting one, Marmande, and they come out, like half a kilo tomatoes. So you're getting quite nice half a kilo tomatoes, quite big, hefty ones. Yeah, they're really good. That's a really good tomato actually. I do like Marmande, but the only problem with that is they're not that productive. So you probably get 4 or 5 tomatoes per plant, and then the plant seems. And the other thing about Marmande is they're quite a weak plant, so that they're quite susceptible to blight or other. They're just I don't know. I've grown them for a few years. I do like growing them simply because they're a good tomato and they taste nice and they're big. But they just don't. The plant is not very. It's not. Yeah, it's not a very strong plant. Maybe it's our climate. Um, San Marzano, they're fantastic for things like spaghetti bolognese. They're quite sweet. Yeah, they're really good for sauces. Hyacinth beans from Bangladesh, better quality than those you can buy online from the UK. Then I think you'll be getting the same seed. Most of the seed that individual companies sell come from very few seed suppliers, like the ones in Bangladesh, a lot of the ones in Africa, they come from some of the same seed suppliers. If you're buying supermarket ones, like if you're buying seed packets, we grow a few of those, but we started growing our own seed, so we started saving our own seed from a few years ago. But we've got a few seed packets left over, so we use them and we mix in our own seeds now. And I'm hoping that as we go on during a few years' time, those the ones that we've grown in the UK will have maybe not completely adapted, but they'll have got some sort of genetic imprint of this country onto them, and they grow a little bit easier. That's my theory anyway. So let's see if that happens in a few years. You better eat those oyster mushrooms before Sunday. If you're here on Sunday, you can have some. I'll save you some that you can take home and clean. I've got 3, washing up bowls full. I threw one washing up bowl full away because they were they were the worst ones, and so what I've done with them is I've taken them and I've buried them in my wood chip pile. So hopefully they might spread some of their spores or spread some of the mycelium from the stalks might spread into them. And let's see if we can get some oyster mushrooms growing in our garden. Kato Family Farm, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. I'm doing all right. My 10k Edwards seed potatoes arrived on Thursday. Your tips on storing. I always put them in a pot covered in garage first time with King Edwards, so don't want to make a mistake. If you've got 10k, I wouldn't put them in a pot. that sort of amount I wouldn't put in a pot right now. What I'd do with 10 kilos of potatoes is I'd go to one of your local veg shops and see if you can get some of those apple boxes. You know, the big ones, the long ones. They're about 2.5 foot, maybe. Yeah, they're long ones. They're bigger than tomato boxes. They're a lot longer. I don't know exactly how long, but I'd get them in there and just spread them in there and just cover them with some newspaper or some cardboard if it's going to get cold, and leave them somewhere cool, and just leave them somewhere cool and let them develop their small chits. You don't want it too dark, otherwise those chits will come out really strong, really spindly. Let them develop short, stubby split chits. Or if you've got somewhere frost free, leave them, and you can put them in like a greenhouse on top of a table, so they can get the maximum amount of light. That's what I do. A lot of people put them in egg boxes because it's perfect time to start chitting your potatoes. I don't always chip my potatoes. I'll be honest with you, I'm a Wilco's man. So as soon as Wilco's get the seed potatoes in, I'm Wilco's, and I always buy my favorite ones. Desiree is always on the list. I'll play about with the earlies or the second earlies, but for main crop is Desiree, King Edwards, and if I'm feeling like it, I might drop in a Maris Piper. But I'm not a fan of. Generally, I'm not a fan of white potatoes. I prefer red potatoes, or the red and pinky ones. Yeah, that's me. But Desiree have got to be my favourite potato ever. They're really, really good. And the good thing about them is they're a little bit drought tolerant, or they're supposed to be drought tolerant. So if we're going to continue to have hot summers and prolonged periods without rain, I think Desiree is going to be a go-to for a lot of people. Derek, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. I'm building my my own polytunnel this year. Yes, that's what I want to hear. Free cycle Facebook Marketplace. Am I way behind in the comments? I probably am, aren't I? I've heard good things about Marmande. Are they for outdoors? See, I grow Marmande. I grow most of my tomatoes outside. The only ones that I really grow inside are big. If I'm trying to grow a big tomato, then I'll grow that inside. I'll try and give it a bit of special treatment. But pretty much all my tomatoes go outside. Marmande, I think they're generally for the greenhouse. They do better in a greenhouse. But because I give my chilies all the space in the greenhouse that I can give them, tomatoes sort of get relegated. But I think the way, if the last couple of years are to go by, I think the way our weather's going to be in the summer is just going to generally be hotter. So I think you'll get away with it. If you can find a sunny, sheltered spot, somewhere that doesn't get too windy, up next to the house, next to a brick wall, on on a concrete patio or something like that, where they can get some residual heat. That might be a game changer for them. Yeah, everyone's getting that polytunnel. 8 foot by 10 foot by 18 foot. That's huge, man. 32 foot and 32 foot. Amazing. Ali Kabban, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us, mashallah. Hope you're keeping well. I'm after some 20-litre tubs to try build a wormery. No luck on the free cycle sites yet. You're looking for buckets or tubs? We built a wormery. So the first wormery that we built was made out of, those plastic containers, those plastic storage containers, those things. Just drilled a couple of holes in the bottom of the top one and caught all the fluid in the bottom one. We didn't go for anything fancy like adding a tap or anything like that. We just let it all drain in, put in a couple of bricks in the bottom one just to hold the top one up, and just use the lid as a cover. But the thing about those tubs is they've got to be kept out of sunlight. They're designed to be indoors, so they're not UV stable. So what can happen with them is after a few years of being in the sun, they can become really brittle and fall apart. So that's one thing to be wary about them. So if you're using that kind of thing, give them a spray with some paint or get, something to keep them out of that, out of the UV rays. Sam A, I haven't planted my garlic yet. Is it too late? If you haven't planted them and you want to plant them, I'd still go ahead and plant them. I don't think it's absolutely too late. I've sown them late and I've had a okay harvest before, and I've sown them late and I've had a pretty poor harvest before. Depends on where you are as well. For us up north, I don't really like sowing them this late, but I have sown them in January before. There's actually a video that I've got of me sowing garlic in January. But yeah, if you do want to sow them, just get them sown and hope for the best. I'll cook the oyster mushrooms with maggots in. I'm not fussed. See, there you go. There you go. Chickens love maggots and very good for them. Yeah. The thing is that there's not enough to give the chickens a good feed, so you can't get a good handful of them. But they're everywhere. They're in pretty much. There's a good few of the younger ones that aren't maggoty, but especially the bigger ones, they're quite maggoty, so they need a good clean. How about trying to grow our own seeds and then doing a swap? I tried Greek Giant this year and saved seeds. They're like butter beans. Got loads, so we'll try. Oh, wicked. See, Derek, I think you asked for some bottle gourd seeds as well, didn't you? If you can send me a message, I've got a bottle gourd that I haven't opened yet, so I've dried it. So I saved seeds, and yeah, saved seeds from it, and I've been drying it all winter, and I'll open it come sort of late February, early March when I start sowing them. So we could send you some out. But yeah, as Alan will probably tell you, waiting for me to post stuff is not always best. I'll do it. I am reliable, but I'm just not reliably on time. Picasso is my Musco, and Desiree too. Picasso was one of the earlies that we grew last year, I think. They're quite purple and white, aren't they, Picasso? Sarah, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Glad you made it. Hope you're keeping well. And there's one of our patrons. Thank you very much for coming in. Willow Grove, another one of our patrons. Yeah, thank you both. I've got Pentland Javelin and Charlotte here, bro. If you want some bringing over on Sunday, meant to be blight resistant and wireworm. Pentland Javelin is supposed to be blight resistant. Because Pentland Javelin, because they do a few of them, don't they? Pentland, and they've got 2 or 3 different names for the main crop, the earlies and the second earlies. Which ones have you got? The thing is, you can't be giving away all your seeds because you've still got to sow some. Eelworm we don't get. I've never seen an eelworm before. What's an eelworm? Because of the way we grow potatoes in wood chip, one of the advantages of that is we don't get loads of wireworm because we're not going in the open soil. And for the last couple of years, it's been, there's been bird flu everywhere, so we're not having our chickens go out and break a lot of pest cycles. So that's causing us a bit of an issue. I got a message from Tony last week. He was telling me, "Oh, you shouldn't be letting your chickens out." The chickens were, yeah, they did genuinely escape in one of the videos. So little Zaki, I think I was cleaning the chicken house, and little Zaki just sort of chased him around the garden, and while I was in the middle of filming, so he's breaking away from that. And I didn't want to break away from that. Trying Navon potatoes this year. Our local shop got some in. over the festive season. They make amazing taste. Navan potatoes. I've not heard of those before. Mr. T, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. You've not told people to hit the like button for at least 10 minutes. Yeah, guys, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, that'd be fantastic. It helps with the algorithm and stuff. I can recommend growing black beans for dried beans as well as French climbing beans that you can eat the green pods too, but they also leave to dry seeds. The purple varieties of French climbing beans, absolutely, yeah. I like them for seed saving as well. Yeah, I'd second that. Yeah, go big. Can you sow runner beans outside now? No, you can't. Ali, assalamu alaikum. Glad you came in. But runner beans now is just way too early. The ground will be too cold for them, so more than likely they'll rot. And if they do germinate, then you'll get them. You know, the cold will just kill them. Yeah. So runner beans is just, I wouldn't just go for, yeah, I just wouldn't do that. With runner beans, we normally sow them in about April, and we sow them directly in the ground. We used to sow them in pots in March and then transfer them, but mid-April, sort of second week of April, mid-April, third week of April, that time is perfect. As soon as you start seeing the dandelion flowers all over the place, you know your ground's warm enough. Runner beans will go in quite nicely then. Just protect them if there's going to be any signs of frost. But when they start coming up, they'll just, yeah, they catch up really quickly. So with those kind of plants, I don't worry about planting them early. Tubs with where are we gone? Amsterdam, wa alaikum assalam. Yes, I do have chickens. I haven't got a massive flock at the minute. I've got 2, 3, 4 laying hens and well, 3 laying hens, one old freeloader, but she's about 6, so she can just chill out. And a young rooster. He's a quite good a rooster actually. I'll tell you a little story. This is quite funny. This will crack you up, and this will prove why I need my glasses and why I'm struggling to read your comments when I don't have my glasses. So this morning, right, the chickens, about 6 o'clock this morning, they were making such a racket outside. So I went outside to find out what was going on. I got there, and they were panicking. They were fluttering about. They were, all over the place. So, and I couldn't see anything. It was dark. I shone the light about. I couldn't see anything. So, but after a few minutes of me being out there, they calmed down and they got on with whatever they were doing. Later on this afternoon, I went out to collect the eggs and give them some afternoon snacks. And when I was collecting the eggs, I looked in and I thought I saw this grey round thing, right? And I thought, oh, that must be the reason that they were fluttering. A rat got into their coop and they've killed a rat. So I went and got, if you've heard me about rats before, I've got a terrible phobia of rats, mice, rodents, these kind of things. So I went and got gloved up, shovel, a big spade, big sweeping brush so I could sweep this rat up. Got myself psyched up, ready to get this rat out. Open it up, and it's the scoop of the chicken. It's the scoop for the chicken feed that's inside the chicken coop. It's grey, and yeah, from where I was looking, it just looked like some grey round thing, and I was like, oh man. And the saddest thing is I was filming it at the same time. I was filming it thinking, look, I want to show you guys how the chickens have killed this rat. And it turns out to be a plastic scoop. Oh man. Any thoughts on Chinese yam? Wondering in the season they produce the edible bulbils. Chinese yam. I'm not sure what a Chinese yam is. Let me have a look what a Chinese yam is. See, I can see the What's the? Let me see the leaf. Okay. I don't know. I'm sorry, Anne. I don't know much about them. I'll show my mum and see what she says. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know much about them. But I'll ask my mum and I might get back to you next week if she knows what I'm talking about. I'll be coming for seeds on Sunday. Picasso, okay, Picasso main crop. But are they the purple and white ones? I noticed we'll call some 50-litre plastic bins for $8.50 each. Perhaps they'll do for the wormery. Plastic bins. You know about like the dustbin style ones? When does first early potatoes have to be in by to get an early? So earlies are normally, I normally go for earlies. I'll pop a couple in late February and early March. And yeah, so March time you're good for earlies, but with early varieties you'll still get with early varieties you'll still get earlies regardless of when you plant them. The plants just run out of vigor after a couple of months. So after about 3-4 months they'll run out of vigor. So within 90 days you should be able to harvest them and get a decent crop. Sea kale and thongs for you, and we'll send wicked when you go. Tony, how are you doing? We were just talking about you. Yeah, not in a bad way. I think we talk about you every week though. But yeah, we were just talking about you. Glad you came in, man. Urban Gardening Chronicles, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. For those chickens, for those who've got chickens, how noisy can they get? I have an acre of land here in New Jersey, but I don't want to annoy my neighbours. What is the if you've got hens, right, in an acre of land, you shouldn't annoy your neighbours. And if you annoy your neighbours with chickens in an acre of land, I think they're being a bit too fussy. Then they can get a little bit rowdy when they lay an egg, or they can get a little bit rowdy when they see a predator. So if they see a hawk or if they see a cat or a dog, something nearby that scares them, they can get a little bit, they can scream a little bit. But that's not for a long period of time, maybe a few minutes. But as soon as a threat's gone, they'll calm down as well. You're probably your best ones. Do you say you're in New Jersey? So you're in New Jersey. So if you're Rhode Island Reds would be good. So a lot of the hybrid ones that are bred for laying eggs, they're quite tame. They're quite chilled out. They'll probably the varieties I'd go for. I think you guys have a lot of what are they called? Leg bars. No, not leghorns. Yeah, I think you have a lot of leghorns out there. The rooster's sound will carry over an acre, but even in an acre of space, in a if you're locking the chickens up every night in the coop, if he's crowing inside his coop, that should muffle some of the sound, and that should be okay. But the hens should be absolutely no problem in your acre. The rooster might still cause a bit of a problem, but I'd still risk it. Why does Graham have a spanner after his name? So the spanners are the admins or the moderators. See, do you know? I used to do this thing where I gave spanners to a lot of people who were regulars on the channel, and then I found loads and loads of people blocked. Do you know, loads of. You know, on my block list, there were loads of people. You know, people that I'd not blocked, some were actually regulars. So I've reduced the number of spanners that I give out. But it used to be a thing where that's why if you notice on our Facebook group, it's called #TeamSpanner, because pretty much everyone who's a regular who came in here had a spanner. Um, I need to go do something. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hamza, have a good weekend. See you soon. So if I hit again, uh, yeah, dwarf broad bean. Did you say broad beans or did you say runner beans? Um, where's he gone? He's a Spanish over toolbox. Oh, there's a rat in the. Oh, well, the same thing happened to me. I thought I had a hedgehog underneath my cherry tree, scared to pick it up, and it was only a base of a plant upside. Oh man! Oh no! Where have I ended up? Um, so I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm at in the chat. I think I'm still way behind, and if I'm way behind and I'm not reading your comments, I do apologize. I'll get to you eventually. Um, put the birds in and trap. What you put? Put the birds in and trap and put peanut butter on it. And okay, the rats. Yeah, I get you. Um, Rats love chocolate. I'm not giving them chocolate. I like chocolate. Uh, um, yes, fam. The Chinese yam is becoming popular permaculture, but invasive parts of the US they sound good. Uh, uh, do you ever do you ever air layer fruit trees? If so, what do you start? When do you start the process? Spring. Spring's a good time to air layer them. Yeah, spring's a really good time to do it. Um, they look like kitchen bins. I don't. If they're looking like kitchen bins, I won't. They're going to be quite tall and thin, aren't they? Generally, you want some. You know, you want something wider. Wider's better for what they're called wormeries, rather than taller. Um, and stackable's better. So if you do you know like what we got any the plastic storage boxes, they're normally in Wilco's. You normally can get them for a few quid. Um, and if you put a lid on top of a lid, they're normally quite stackable. Um, see, we got our we got a load of my neighbor. He's a Amazon delivery driver, and they have these plastic um, totes. If you've seen the ones that I do the gardening in, or I've used as for my container garden, those plastic containers. He's an Amazon delivery driver, and they have these plastic totes in the warehouse. So when they get a little chip on them or something like that, they throw them out. So he's brought me loads of them home. Um, let's see if we can find a couple of them for you. That might be all right. Let's ask him. Um, Sugar Snickers on it. You got chocolate and your peanut butter. So Tony was here all the time. So oh man. So you were here, and I'm just catching up to your chat. There we go. 9.99 of the land to the left, and the chickens on the. I have a 9 mil. What are 9 mils? Oh, guns. Okay. Okay, I'm with you. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that word with the YouTube. I used to make, but not since I had it. You're gonna get me in trouble with all this this chat. Do you want sending to what's going on? Let's catch up. I'm just trying to catch up with the chat, see if what's going on. Everyone's talking about something that I don't know much about. I wonder if we'll have a drought this summer and a drought warning not to use hose pipes. See, I think we will, just based on the way it's been going over the last few years. Every summer seems to be getting hotter. And even a few years ago, a couple of years ago, it wasn't extremely hot. But from April till about end of May, we just had really, really low rainfall. So it was close to drought conditions from about April. So yeah, I think there was one April a couple of years ago. It just didn't rain for us at all. So even if we're not having loads of rain later, hot causing the drought, I just think we're going to suffer from a lack of rain. I don't want to be peat free, but that's why I made so much this year. You put fish under your tomatoes? Do I? No, no. We had in our worm bin, we had a lot of our kitchen waste, so we have a lot of fish that goes into the kitchen waste. But under individual plants, I don't do it. I've experimented with using fish guts. I've experimented with using eggs. Like I know a lot of people make these videos, YouTube videos, and say put an egg in and put aspirin in and all that sort of thing. Yeah, as long as your soil's good, I don't think you need to do any of that. With fish, by the time it turns into the blood will be good. Blood's quite fresh blood is quite a good hit of nitrogen very quickly. But most of the fish, if your soil's not that biologically active, it'll take ages for that fish, the bones and the scales to break down. Yeah, I'm stockpiling water bottles where I can pick them up from, getting ready for the hosepipe ban. Because we're gardening in our backyard, I I need to do our footpath for our garden. What I'm planning on doing with that is I'm going to plan on putting a channel in or a built-in gutter into that footpath, and then all the water from our house, all the drains and all that sort of thing, can just go straight down the gutter into the garden. So if you saw that big blue hose that I've got like a fireman's hose that I connect to the waste pipe from the kitchen sink, and everything that would go through the kitchen just goes out of there. I need to get a reducer for our downpipe from our bathroom. If I can get a reducer from that to about 50 mil, then I'll connect that to the fireman's pipe, and I'll have bathroom water going into the garden as well. Yeah, and if we get that, then we've got no worries about water. It's just that connection that I need to get, and I'm worried about causing a blockage. That's the only thing. As we kids used to make mud pies. No wonder we reach. Check out this right on Wilco's online. I got 50 litre clone composting potting mix and container mix, 50 litre for 350. That doesn't seem right, does it? It doesn't seem right, but is it Wilco's own brand? Because if it is, then it might be. Naga's over. No, Naga's higher, man. Naga's a lot higher. Do you know the Jalokias and the Nagas? The true, do you know the Jalokias and the Nagas are so, because they're from the same region. Like Jalokias are from Assam, and Nagas are from North Bangladesh, sort of Bengal, North Bangladesh, and Assam and North Bangladesh. They're the same place, very, very, very similar. So you're going to get Nagas, which, if you did a scientific test, would have, Jalokia Jolokia traits. They're so close. So yeah, that the proper Deshinaga. You know, Ali, if you can get the proper Deshinaga, they're a lot hotter than the ones that are sold as Naga here. I've seen some ones that are sold as Naga, but they're not Naga. Yeah, they're not the Deshi Nagas. I think I've missed a load of comments out just so I could catch up to the last ones at the bottom, and then hopefully I'll try and stay on top of them a little bit. I've got Boot Jolokia imported from Hindustan. Then you're laughing. Yeah, you're gonna be laughing then, because they're from Jolokia is native to Assam, and half of Assam is Sylhet or top of Bangladesh. So the Deshinaga and the Assam and the Jolokia are very, very similar. Anyone going Malvern in May? I probably won't be gonna. That's a thought, Tony. Let's see if I can get a stall at Malvern. If I can get a stall at Malvern, I'll be laughing. Do you know? Have you got any contacts to try and get a stall? If they'd give me a stall there, then I'd be really happy with that. So Sarah, Malvern has a gardening show, one in spring and one in autumn. It's one of the RHS ones, and they do a lot of gardening stuff. They do autumn one's really good because they do a giant veg one, and that's always fun when you go and see the giant pumpkins. Stall at Malvern might be expensive. I think it will be. Yeah, I think I'm going to get onto the websites and see if we can see the price and see if it's worth. Because it's not just the expense of the store; it's going to be staying over as well. But if you sell enough, then it might be worth it. Not using grey water yet, but I've added rainwater catchment to the house, and I've saved over 2,000 gallons. That's a good amount. That's a good amount. That. Have you got one massive container, or have you got several small ones? So Graham's got a few contacts. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I'll dig them out, Monty, but you probably need to pay his companies pay out. Yeah, I know you have to pay, but if they're paying thousands for, depending on the side of the stall, I think as well, you can get a tiny little store somewhere. The side of it, size of a little gazebo or something. That might be all right. We had a real bad floods this. We're talking about rain at the start of the show because it's the worst rain I've seen. Our ground's actually holding water on its surface, and I think that's the first time I've seen it like do that. When do we get to see your? She doesn't come onto camera. Yeah. Depends on who you know. I had a 20 by 15 foot for 700 at Malvern, and that's expensive. 700 is a bit expensive. Yeah, for the pickles, Tony. So if we can go down with the pickles, then that'd be awesome. At the normal markets that we do, we pay like anywhere between 30 and 50 quid for a little plot. But 700 quid, that's a lot, man. But that's a 20 foot by 15 foot. What's that in meters? So 369. Okay, so it's bigger than Yeah, it's bigger than what I'd expect. What I'd want. It's a lot bigger than what I'd want. I'd want something about a quarter of the size of that, or a third of the size of that. I used to use rainwater for my garden, dogs, pigs, chickens. Have you guys ever tried the core gardening method to help you retain water through drought season? Do you mean by sinking soil into your ground, sinking water into your ground? Is that what you mean? I've not heard that expression before, but I'm just guessing it means something like that. Tell the organizer you could count towards the social value. Well, Graham, ring him and see what he wants for it. I have a 13-gallon IBC, 3,000-gallon IBC, and 355-gallon barrels. Oh, that's all right. That's a good amount of water holding capacity. That Tony's got a nice setup for IBCs. I was over. If you have a look at a video that I did from about 2 or maybe 3 years ago, I visited a guy in Birmingham, and he had like 6 or 7 IBCs, hooked up, interconnected. They were all, they were on top of each other. So you'd fill the top one, and when that filled up, it would fill the next one and fill the next one and just flow around. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. A lady down my way takes your van, the little camper van, into the car boot sales, opens up, and she sells. She has all the homemade pickles in the back. See, the car boot sales, I thought about doing that, but normally at the car boots, people are looking for a bargain, and I don't know how we'd get on with them. Like at the markets, people don't mind paying a little bit extra. I'd like some. I've got, Paul, talking of worm bins, I've got an IBC that I made a worm bin out of. Yeah, that's a good sized worm bin. Your seed video did well when he uploaded another one on seeds. So I'll probably do one. Seeing as though people liked it and a lot of people are coming back for the same content, I'll probably do one at the start of every month. But we'll get another video out on Sunday. Sunday's our release day for videos. Anything anyone in particular wants to see a video on? Put your bundles of leaves or straw under soil between your rows to help trap retain water. Found it works well for shallow rooted plants. See, I grow in a lot of deep mulch, so most of the time on my beds I've got a good 4 or 5 inches of mulch on them, even where I'm growing, because I grow in deep mulch. And sometimes I plant through the mulch, or sometimes I just plant into the mulch depending on the plant. I buy my honey from a guy at a car boot sale as well. Hemswell car boot. Where I don't even know where Hemswell is, unless you're in the right job. Yeah, Terry's got a nice one. You want to see a video of my seed collection? I actually put a video on Patreon of my seed collection a few days ago. Well,
I have a feeling you finished.
That was only half my seeds as well.
I'm tired.
You're right, buddy.
Yeah, I'm dead.
A video on getting the bottle gourds going from seed would be good. We've done a few of those, but yeah, I'll do a few more. Maybe, yeah. We've got a whole series on growing bottle gourds from right the way from getting them going at the start, to how we raise them on and how we grow them, pot them out. There's a series of videos on that. I might do one, one condensed one with clips out of each one of those videos and do like a complete guide in one video. Let's see if I can get the planning in for that. If I can plan that and do it right, then yeah. You can buy IBCs on eBay for about 50 quid for a food grade one. For a food grade one, you can get it for 50 quid. You just got to clean it yourself. So it might have oil or grease or something like that in it that you just need to clean out. Or there were about 50-ish on eBay not so long ago, but it depends on how much. Depends on how much price have changed in the last couple of years. He's always busy. Met him in Melbourne last year. He's a brilliant guy, Terry. I really like him. Yeah, really nice guy. We did this thing where pretty much loads of YouTubers turned up at Malvern Autumn Show about 2 years ago. Sadly, our famous Tony O'Neill couldn't be there, but yeah, that was an awesome day. Just realised there's no Zaki. I think they're busy downstairs doing something. But right, I can get an IBC for £10 if you find. Graham's the man. Anything you want, he's got it. It's like a proper Del boy. Great show this evening. So you take care, and we'll see you again next week. And hope you have a good week. Right, we're 9:15, so we're 15 minutes over our time limit. Or it's coming up to 9:15, so we're coming up to 15 minutes over our time limit. I'm not a leak grower, to be honest with you. See, there's some things that I do well, and some things that I'm not. Because we don't use leeks in our cooking, we just don't grow them as much. We grew them a couple of times, and I think the first time I grew them, they were by mistake. I didn't know what I was planting, and they just grew. So we're not a real leek grower. Dean's Lost the Plot is a really good leek grower. Check his channel out. Dean's Lost the Plot, really good. He's growing leeks that are this long. He's absolutely he's got that one nailed. So I'm sorry, but I don't want to put out something that I don't know what I'm talking about. So Mr. Football again. Right, you guys all, thanks everyone for coming in. If I can just carry on going and doing that long goodbye thing, then I could be here for another 15 minutes. But yeah, I'm going to call it a night tonight, guys. So thanks everyone for coming in, joining us. Shweta, I know you've just come in, but I'm just about to sign off. So glad to see you all. Thanks very much for coming in, and I'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.